Okay, so let's start. We're live now on YouTube and on our landing page as well.
No, hold on.
Shehan?
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, go.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Organic and Natural Digital Trade Week, the first of its kind in the region. We are now on our third trade week, and the prior 2 weeks have been extremely successful for our attendees and exhibitors. Each trade week is purposed towards connecting buyers and suppliers online during a crucial time when most of the business is conducted remotely. A very warm welcome to all our viewers and speakers from across the world. Thank you. Last week's session on health supplements, nutraceuticals, and vitamins was attended by nearly 4,500 viewers. We had a healthy and insightful discussion on the trends, demands, and sourcing patterns of superfoods in the Middle East. Today's talk will focus on fresh produce, local production, and government incentives, international sourcing trends and imports, and coping up with demand during the current times. Today, you will learn the latest trends and find new business opportunities from some of our eminent panelists, including 4 well-known distributors and buyers from the region and suppliers from the UAE and Egypt. Before I start, I would like to introduce all of them with their profiles. First, we have Yazan Al-Qadmani, Operations Manager and our keynote speaker for today. He's from Emirates Biofarm that serves 60 varieties of fresh produce from the UAE desert. Hi, Yazan.
Hello everyone.
Hello, Yazan.
Yazan Al-Qadmani was brought up in the UAE in a household of agricultural experts. With an educational background in finance, his career has primarily been in the food and agriculture industry. He started his career in 2011 by joining Al-Darmaki, an agriculture company specialized in greenhouse construction and irrigation networks. Since 2016, he has been part of the founding team at Emirates Biofarm, where they have been working to contribute to the UAE's food security agenda by driving local and organic fruit, vegetable, and egg production. He is currently the operations manager at Emirates Biofarm, and where they have spent the last 4 years building arable soil in the UAE desert, which successfully produces over 60 varieties of products in Al Shuaib Al Ain. Next, we have David, am I pronouncing this correct? David Prokopayak.
Yep, that's close enough, yeah.
Okay. He is the procurement director at Kipson's, a UAE fresh produce distributor. Hello.
Hi.
David Prokopayak is currently the procurement director for Kipson's International, a leading importer, wholesaler, distributor, and e-commerce retailer of fresh produce, meat, and other healthy foods. An agribusiness professional with 6 years experience working in the UAE's food and agribusiness industry, David enjoys challenging industry norms and is passionate about improving public access to sustainably sourced healthy food. Now we have Rahul Gupta, co-founder Agrovilla. They are an exclusive ripe partner. Hello, Rahul.
Thank you.
Agrovilla is the largest exporter of organic fruits and vegetables from India to the UAE, and the company also exports to Saudi Arabia and other Middle Eastern countries. They have an exclusive partnership with Ripe Market, the biggest organic community-based retail company in the UAE. Rahul Gupta, the co-founder, was a pilot in training in Dubai, who eventually turned his passion for organic into a career. Under his guidance, Agrovilla has grown by leaps and bounds, both in the Middle East and Bombay, where they deliver fresh produce to customers.
That's a lovely introduction. I owe you a box of organic fruits.
I'll be waiting. Next, we have Omer Chahan. He's Assistant General Manager at Gulf Fruits Trading Company. Hello, Omer.
Hi, how are you guys?
Gulf Fruits Trading Company LLC was founded in 2008 and is now one of the foremost suppliers of fruits and vegetables to 4- and 5-star hotels, luxury dining outlets, eateries, and artisan catering companies. They also supply fresh produce to the royal family in the UAE. Omar Chahan is a 9-year veteran in the industry and has been part of several driven teams in the UAE fresh produce industry. Today, he's leading a successful supply chain of fresh and processed fruits, vegetables, and juices in B2C and B2B spaces. So these are our distributors and buyers from the UAE. And now we move on to Walid Gabar. Is it Gabar? Gabar.
It's a Gabr, but it's close enough.
Okay. Walid Gab from Sechem, one of the biggest producers of fresh fruits and vegetables in Egypt. Hello.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Walid?
Hi.
Walid works as export supervisor from 4 years now, and he has experience in the food business for more than 11 years. He started working as sales in the local market and worked his way up until he became a local market manager for one of the biggest producers for fruits and vegetables in Egypt. He then started a career in the export business, which empowered his previous experience. And now he works with Sechem and is excited about being a team member of this limitless company. And finally, we have Farah. Farah, please help me with your last name.
It's Shakashiro.
Okay, Farah Shakashiro.
Yeah.
Is part of Gracia Group. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Farah Shakashiro is the managing director for Gracia Group, and she leads the education department in Gracia Farm through her initiative Grow Peace. Farah created a program to raise awareness about mental health, morals, and values education through nature. This program aims to raise a new agricultural generation and targets all ages from schools to universities, as they had more than 13,000 students around the UAE and internships from many universities. Creating smart greenhouses for kids is the link between old and traditional farming and the new agri-technology farming. Students are now more involved in planting, healthy eating, and techniques to decrease their stress and anxiety. So here we have introduced all of our speakers. And now I'll pass the floor to Yazan, who is going to be presenting his keynote to us. So over to you, Yazan.
Hello, everyone. I'm just going to get to share the screen. So, all right. Can you confirm that the screen is showing?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. My name is Yazan Al-Kudmani from Emirates Biofarm. Thank you so much for the introduction. Today, I'm going to talk about our industry, the current situation of our industry, where I see it heading, the challenges that we have, and some of the solutions that are being applied to solve them. So who of us hasn't seen this statement? 80% of food is imported. This statement is true in the UAE, but one of the underlying assumptions that we always make is not always true, that we import our food because it is not available locally. So that is the case in many ways, but in many other times that is false, and I'd like to explain a bit more. One of the things is price. The UAE is an open economy that shares an important stage in the world economy of trade. It's a huge re-exporter in the region. And we have one of the busiest ports in the world in Dubai. And that means that we will always be open to business to other countries. Many of other countries that are agriculture producers will have more protectionist measures. So to protect their farmers, there would be quotas, there would be different kinds of taxes on imports. And that would make their farmers more competitive, as it isn't always a level playing field. So many producing nations would have some different kinds of subsidies and different kinds of supports for their farmers and different environments and many reasons that would make the prices cheaper on their end. And no matter how much tomato we produce, for example, or if we can produce bananas here, which we cannot compete on the price. And the price still plays its part in the market. Next is globalization. The UAE is home to about over 200 nationalities. It's a melting pot of culture, and that many times the culture sharing comes with the food. And whether you're from India or the Philippines or Lebanon, you will always want or miss some of the flavors from back home. So some vegetables, some fruits have a national, you would always demand your national product. And that means that we would import it regardless if we produce it locally. As well as menus. So we have a huge hospitality industry, HoReCa industry, catering, hotels, restaurants. And many times, many of them are franchises. Many of them, to run their business properly, need set menus. They need to have these ingredients all year round. And farming, regardless where you are, is a seasonal business. So if we increase production locally, many times it does not mean that it would be available all year round. So imports would still play its part. I just found it important to highlight some of these things, because if we move towards increasing our production without understanding why we import fully, then we might make a few mistakes on the way. If we want to delve deeper into it, these are the top 10 vegetable import volumes. This is up to 2016, but it's still relevant today. When we look at onions and shallots, that's 25%. Potatoes, 18%. Both of these are open field agriculture. We can grow them locally, but it's difficult to compete on price. And we cannot use high-tech agriculture to replace them. And you're talking about just these two alone approaching 40%. And then carrots and turnips, garlic, pumpkin, squash, and cabbage, this is open field. What we have that we can replace with protected agriculture or high-tech is tomatoes and the peppers, and many of our lettuces and herbs. These are the nations that we import from. So again, this is important for the food security, is that when you have a worldwide pandemic and you have countries shutting down and you are importing 40% of your vegetables from 2 nations, or 50% from 3 nations, then you worry about laws and in other countries that will ban exports, or many other things that really the COVID situation has highlighted the importance of diversification in our sourcing. We source from the Netherlands, mostly the high value crops, that is greenhouse, so capsicums, tomatoes, and then also from Australia and United States. And of course, if we look at the fruits, then United States and other countries have a bigger share. This is just for vegetables. But we can see India and China are the biggest players. And regionally, we have Jordan, Iran, and Egypt. And Oman is a huge one as well, locally. These are some of the effects of COVID on the fresh food industry so far. There's an accelerated shift to e-commerce, which was already happening, but I think COVID accelerated it because of the convenience to the consumer. And once the consumer gets used to this method of shopping, it takes hold. They don't return as much. Disruption to imports. So at the beginning of the situation, we had disruption to imports, which increased demand for local production, increased demand for fresh foods. So as we are all talking about health and wellness, the organic fresh foods became top of mind for many people as they tried to improve their health and wellness. And then urgency to achieve food security. So because of the things that I mentioned, it really showed the urgency to accelerate a lot of these programs. So what is the government doing to answer all of these questions? And they are doing a lot, all of these challenges. The UAE National Food Security Strategy was launched in 2018. So this is regardless of the current situation. And we are lucky to have Her Excellency Maria Al-Muhairi, which is the Minister of State for Food Security, which is a position that I think we're the only country in the world that has. And she is at the forefront of pushing this agenda forward. It has 5 key pillars, and those, one of them is about production, one is about food waste, and then diversify our imports and improve the nutritional value of the crops we eat. And then enhance our capacity. So have a 6 months or whatever it is to ensure that if we have any risk that we are able to answer to. So the people that are working with the Minister of Food Security or the tools she is using, one of them is Abu Dhabi Investment Office. They allocated 1 billion in funds for agriculture research, R&D. We have Ministry of Climate Change and Environment, which are extremely active. We are always seeing them pushing the agenda for food security forward for the past few years. They are also proponents of organic, hydroponic, and many sustainable methods of agriculture. And we have Khalifa Fund, who throughout the past 10 years, we were involved with them in building about 150 hydroponic farms locally. And they funded many of those. These are the 18 main food items that were identified as part of the food security agenda. We have apples, bananas, and dates. When it comes to dates, this is an important crop locally, but apples and bananas, as I said, bananas we can grow, but the cost, we cannot compete. Apples, we cannot grow. Vegetables, these three are the ones that the UAE can be fully food secure. Leafy greens is a huge one for indoor agriculture, for hydroponics, for LEDs, vertical farms. They will succeed first in leafy greens, and they are. Actually, the UAE, based on my experience, we are ahead in the world when it comes to indoor. So I'm talking about not greenhouses, I'm talking about structures with LED lights, with people like Badia Farms and ONS pushing that forward. When it comes to tomatoes and cucumbers, the UAE is a huge producer in the season. And the reality is we throw away a lot of the tomatoes. So that is something that many people don't know, is that the UAE produces so much tomatoes in the season that due to marketing, due to cost, due to price, due to the farmer not finding a buyer, gets dumped. So there's a lot of space here to improve on food waste. Potatoes an open field crop, so that will not be in indoor agriculture, but we can produce it locally. Again, it's a function of cost and demand. And then we get into 80% of agriculture, to be honest. If you talk about trees and then rice and wheat and grains, that is what large-scale agriculture is in many countries. And those things we cannot do in protected agriculture. Even having drip irrigation is too expensive to grow wheat. So this is in countries that do large scale. So one of the main ways that the UAE is trying to combat that, for example, is to find different crops that provide the same purpose. So for example, when you talk about wheat, quinoa is one of the things that was identified by the International Center of Biosaline Agriculture locally, ICBA, and they are looking, it's drought resistant, it's salt tolerant, and it's very nutritious. So to substitute wheat with these kinds of products. Wheat and rice. Livestock products, I think in poultry meat and eggs, we are very strong, 20 to 30%. But again, it's price. If another country allows you to feed your chickens animal products, and the UAE, it's illegal, regardless if you're organic or not. So your cost is always going to be higher, but you're getting a higher quality product, but then you are still getting imports from Sadia and others. With fish as well, this is one of the products that the UAE can become self-sufficient in and is working towards that. So I identified some of the problems, some of the challenges, and the people working on these challenges. Emirates Biofarm, we are one of the people that we're trying to address many of these challenges. This picture gives a bit of an overview of the farm. We have greenhouses, net houses, and open field. The idea is that one type of tech is not always the best all year round. So in the wintertime, we have great weather that enables us to grow outdoors relatively at a low cost. And then in the other months, in the connecting months between winter and summer, we have the net houses, and they allow us to have a structure and protection for more sensitive crops. And then you have greenhouses for all year round protected agriculture. So we're trying to use all types of technology and structures to improve our productivity and be financially sustainable. We have tourism to the farm. So one of our agendas to help support and answer a lot of these challenges is education. We receive about 1,000 guests every weekend to Emirates Biofarm, as well as over 20,000 members of the students. And we did organic festival this year, an annual organic festival that we'll show a bit about more later. And as you can see in the fields, this is, of course, not monocrop agriculture. We are growing over 60 varieties of crops, and having this large number of varieties is part of our strategy to protect our crops. And it's always a surprise to many of our visitors what we are able to grow in the UAE, and that helps them choose local. We are always in these tours pushing people to buy local, whether from us, whether organic or not. Local is the way to go to support this industry. We have a restaurant as well, where we do a lot of events, dining events. And the purpose here is that it's fully vegetarian restaurant. 90% is from the products on the farm. Obviously, we can make oils and sugar and salt, but it's all the vegetables and the eggs from our own products. And we can show people menus that they haven't seen before, seasonality, and using the full crop. So you're trying to reduce waste. You're trying to educate on what's available locally. In many countries that have a long history of agriculture, hundreds and thousands of years, there's a strong relationship with the food you grow and what you do with it at home. So in season, let's say in Syria or many countries, they will make jams and pickles and dehydrate and store in freezers, which is not something that's a major part of the culture here. And we wish to change that and introduce this food culture where we make sure that we don't waste our food. This is in the greenhouse. We're growing peppers. You can see mushrooms underneath. In organic agriculture, the idea is to try and grow with nature, not despite it. So there's always going to be a demand for organic as one of the main growing methods, because if we are not talking about leafy greens and tomatoes, there's still the potatoes and the onions and the carrots and the turnips and the eggplants, okra, and all this open field agriculture that we need to answer. We cannot do it in an unsustainable way, and organic is the way for that. High-tech agriculture is so far the answer for high-value, sensitive crops. Leafies, cherry tomatoes, strawberries, stuff that the price can justify, where the financials make sense. So that ends it. I tried not to go too long on the presentation, identifying some of the key struggles that we have in the UAE and the solutions that we are trying to bring and the way forward. Thank you so much, Menika. And if you'd like to show the videos, of Emirates Biofarm to explain a bit more on what we do at the farm. All right, so this video had sound to it. I think you had an issue playing it. Anyways, we were explaining more of what I was talking about, the visitors and the work that we do at the farm. We supply most of the local market from the large-scale supermarkets, online retailers, as well as homes and others. Due to the COVID situation, I think the industry, there's a huge shift away from HoReCa because the hotels and restaurants have suffered a bit, and more into retailers where demand has increased significantly. And as imports were affected, we had to step up, and many other farms as well, local farms, started supplying. I'd like to, thank you guys for having this kind of event where we are keeping the conversation moving forward with Digital Trade Week and the Organic Expo highlighting, and this panel. As a person in the UAE, I think this panel represents the industry very well. Thank you very much, Menika. I think you are muted.
That's why. Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm going to share the videos again, unmuted this time.
Maybe the next one is fine. It's all right.
It's okay. They're just 1 minute, so.
We cannot see the video, Minaka.
Now we have sound only.
We can connect now the sound to the last video.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have now both here, hopefully.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Welcome to Emirates Biofarm. We're a local organic farm supplying the market with over 55 types of fruits and vegetables through our website and our application. And we welcome you to come to the farm every weekend on open farm days to enjoy tractor tours, great food, and education about organic farming.
So after the slight technical glitch, we saw those really great videos of Emirates Biofarm. I now thank you very much, Yazan, for your really insightful opening keynote. I'd now like to pass the floor to David Prokopyk, who will be introducing Gibson's, and just share the screen. Yes, over to you, David.
I don't know about everyone else, but I cannot hear anything.
I don't think.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
Yes, good.
Yes, welcome everyone. I work for a company called Gibson's International in Dubai. We've been operating in the wholesale fruit and vegetable market for the last 40 years, historically supplying all major retailers as well as HoReCa channels. It's been a long journey, and recently, about 4 years ago, we decided to also enter into the e-commerce market. This has made Kibsons a household name in the UAE, and now e-commerce is one of our fastest growing channels. We have quite a unique insight on the market, as we deal in wholesale as well as retail, and we can, very different customers, very different requirements when it comes to fresh produce, and very different challenges to keep all of our customers happy. That's what we do. We work with multiple local farms. We try and support as much as we can, and we work with every other continent worldwide on literally the full spectrum of fruit and vegetables. From the world's hottest chili to cucumbers, we try and offer it all, and we have a market for all of it. That's it. Menaka, I think you're on mute now.
Oh my God, I'm sorry for doing this twice in a row.
Yes.
Thank you very much, David, for that introduction. I will now pass the floor to Rahul to present his company, Agrovilla.
I'm next.
Yes.
Okay, give me a second. Let me share my screens. Do you see the first screen, first slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Organic and Natural. And Yazin, it was good to see India at #1 in your presentation, your imports. So I'll keep this very quick. It's a great time to be here today. Yesterday happened to be the 3rd year anniversary of our company, Agrovilla, that makes us 3 years and 1 day old today. I put on some notes and slides, which I'll just read out to you. Okay, I don't see this. Oh, I think there's some issue. Just give me a second.
We see the last slide, Rahul, not the first one. So if you can go
Okay.
up.
Yeah, this is the last slide.
That's
you will
so
have to go to the
bad.
first
Okay,
slide.
now, okay.
Yeah, we can consider it's done,
Yeah, that's how soon I want to get done. Okay, so that's the first slide now.
Okay.
I already introduced myself. Now, okay. To quick start with the next slide, a little bit about us. We were the first company to successfully get organic goods out of India. We started off with Ripe Organic, which I'm sure you're all aware of. Ripe has maintained very strict standards and when it comes to qualities and certification, which has really helped us develop these good habits. So we have all our certificates, which you can see. We have our EcoCert, we have our USDA, we have our FEDA. We also insist on issuing a TC with new farmers and even with random consignments. TC is a transaction certificate which ensures that right from the farm to the airport, the goods are organic and there is no malice. About the growth, when we started in 2018, we were exporting about 500 kgs per week. Now we progressed to doing in excess of 7 tons a week. We're doing it consistently. It's been a rewarding journey doing organic business-wise also. The numbers are good, but it feels good to spread health and well-being amongst people. And yeah, about my footprint, after doing successful business in the UAE, we have started supplying to Saudi, Singapore, Hong Kong, and even within India to some huge supermarket chains. We are also in talks with some companies in Europe, mainly in Oslo and Norway, and we should get there soon. I'll move to the next slide. Here, I'll just keep it short, just some key benefits of organic produce, as we all know, is free of chemical, which help us strengthen our immunity. Like even during this pandemic, we have seen a strong spike in products like turmeric and ginger, which are natural immunity boosters. Coming back to numbers, like turmeric, 6 months back with ripe, you were doing like 50 kgs a week. Now we are doing almost 500 kgs, so it's shot up that much. And yeah, to make it affordable, what I've mentioned over here, we are also trying to do sea freight instead of air freight, which maybe we can reach every household in the UAE and even other countries. So yeah, that's a new project. And my next slide. This one is a key one. In this 3 years, we've passed the test of time. We have gone through several checks with Dubai municipality, lab tests, random checks in Singapore. Singapore is the fine city of the world. And even bodies like SGS, which goes to prove we are a genuine organic company and we are here to stay. We're glad to be in partnership with RIPE, who has shared a vision about the benefits and potential of organic. And yeah, that's it. I would like to take on your questions and Q&A. And yeah, thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Rahul.
Thank you.
And thank you once again, Rahul.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now we're moving on to Omer, who will share his presentation.
Thank you, Manika. Okay, so first of all, welcome all the attendees and fellow speakers. Thank you so much for joining us in the Organic Produce Digital Week. My name is Omar Chauhan from Gulf Fruits. I'll just take a moment to introduce our company to you guys. Gulf Fruits has been in the market for almost over a decade now, founded from very humble beginnings. It was founded by a third-generation farmer, a family who had a sort of idea and an understanding of what freshness and quality and well-being should be, and they wanted to bring that brand of quality and freshness to the UAE. And with that, they brought that ideology of not compromising on quality, dedicating themselves to food safety and freshness, and focusing on everybody's health and well-being. This actually, in turn, got us recognized from a lot of businesses that were like-minded here in the UAE, especially chains of luxury and fine dining establishments, hotels, catering companies, and it actually helped us, propel into the scene of the local fruits and vegetable supply industry. Within a very short amount of time, we were able to grow our HoReCa supplies, start our own imports and distribution, and now focusing towards establishing a B2C and e-commerce platforms as well. Besides this, for now, the facility that we have, it has a capacity of handling over 20 to 22,000 tons of produce every week. And we rotate that on a first in, first out basis, ensuring all standards of quality and ISO food safety management systems are thoroughly followed. We have a reputable share in the market, and establishments, like I said, and within a short amount of time, we've been able to compete with the giants in the industry that have been operating for 30 or odd years now. Moving forward with especially the shifts in the industry that we have seen locally, new concepts are going to be including our e-commerce platform, with which we aim to bring our brand of freshness and quality to all the households, basically, and continue improving our partnerships with international growers, farmers directly, in order to bring the best produce that the world has to offer to the UAE, alongside with promoting local growers who are innovating a lot in the industry and have had a huge success in bringing international quality produce locally grown in the UAE. So that's about it. Thank you so much for your time. You guys can definitely join in and get in touch with us. And I look forward to getting your questions, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you, Omer. Now we will have some of our suppliers who will be joining us at the Organic and Natural Products Expo as exhibitors this December to present their products and to present their company. And we're starting off with Farah, and I will be sharing.
Good afternoon.
If you can share the PowerPoint first and then the video, please.
Okay, sure. You can see it?
Yes. First of all, let me say I'm very happy and glad that I'm here and I'm a participant to share our local farm in UAE called Gracia Group. So Gracia Group has 10 departments under the big group. So if you see, we have Gracia Farms, Gracia Construction, Gracia Food, Gracia Groupies, Gracia Livestock and Poultry, Gracia Tech, Gracia Training Center, Gracia Event, and Gracia Village. All these departments are interconnected together to serve sustainability in agriculture, to educate students, to educate farmers and the workers at the farms through our trainings. And we also build greenhouses that we're going to see in the next slides. So this is our company. It's located in Abu Dhabi in Al Bahia, behind Deerfields Mall. So our farm is the first UAE farm that leads 120 farm. Some farms, we provide them for investment. We market the products for the farmers with a percentage of 70% for the farmer and 30% for Gracia as operation and logistic. Gracia Group also is working in alignment with the Food Security Office to organize more the agricultural process and contribute in food security. And now we are issuing a standard of a UAE farm from the Emirates Authority Standardization and Metrology. Okay, the one next, yes. So these are the innovative systems that we have in our farm. We have different systems. So the first one on your left is the vertical system, and the one on the right also down. We have one on the left, the one that we've made. So it's a UAE constructed and innovative system that we created. And the one next is a Spanish system that we have implemented 5 years back. That is a very smart system. It's controlled by the computer. Everything is controlled through, let's say, artificial intelligence, or the fully controlled by this computer. Okay, next. These are some pictures of our crops that we have. We have leafy crops. We have almost now 70 crops that we grow in UAE, organic and hydroponic, because we lead both farms. We lead organic farms, and we lead hydroponic farms. These are also samples from our products. And this is also the products that goes to the market. And these are some pictures of our visitors. We have a lot of investors who came to our farm. We have Saudi investors. We have Uganda, a group from Uganda who came to check how do we defeat challenges in UAE. We have a lot of chefs who came to see how we grow our products in UAE so they can use them more in their kitchen. And we have, of course, the big support, the Food Security Minister, Mariam Al-Miheri, and we have the GM for Adifsa, who came also and visited our farm. And these are the contacts if anyone wants to contact directly the sales manager and follow us on Gracia Group and Gracia Farms for more inquiry. Now, Minaka, if you want, you can share the video. It's a short video. I will show you what we have in Gracia Farm.
Sure.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Gracia Farm. I'm Farah, the director of
the video.
You're not sharing the screen.
Is it sharing?
No, it's still the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Gracia Farm. I'm Farah, the director of Gracia Group. Today, we decided to take you on a quick tour to our farm. Follow me. Here we have our recycling area, is where we do our students project who visit our farm. We have received more than 10 student farms throughout the past years. And here is the play area where they can spend their beautiful time playing at Gracia Farm. We have our simple hydroponic planting. It's an outdoor system that we have customized and designed for our customers. What we plant inside now, because the weather is perfect for okra and mulukhia, so this is what we are planting in the heat and outside in a hydroponic planting. As we see here, it's a small greenhouse for houses where people can plant. We have customized this design. It's an aquaponic, so we have fish and we have crops inside. As you see behind me there is the animal zone where we keep our chicken to have our organic and fresh eggs. I'm standing here where you can see 3 systems for hydroponic system. We have a traditional UAE system that we have developed throughout the year to make it more profitable and to make it the best place to plant in it. This is a Spanish greenhouse, hydroponic greenhouse. We have implemented this smart technology 5 years back, where this greenhouse is automated, it's fully controlled by the computer, and we have back there the vertical greenhouse that we're going inside to see. Who said in summertime we cannot grow crops anymore? We can if we provide the perfect environment for the crops. Look at our beautiful mint, hydroponic mint that we have planted in the midsummer of UAE. This is a hydroponic system. This is one of our products that we have. We have all the leafy crops in Gracia Farm. Let's go to the second greenhouse to show you what we have there. Now we are here in the vertical hydroponic greenhouse, where you can see we have the yummiest and the best crops in UAE. This is planted in the middle of the desert. If we see, we have the kale perfectly grown. We have the Boston lettuce. we have Lolo Rosso, Lolo Bionda, and we will show you other crops as well. And as you see behind me, this is the Spanish greenhouse, the smart system that we were talking about. Unfortunately, we cannot visit it right now because it's under sanitization, but inshallah, and I promise, if you gave us a visit at Gracia Farm, you will see everything live. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Farah, for that, and the video
It
as well.
was so hot, and I was hardly breathing. I'm sorry for that.
No, but you look really energetic, so it didn't seem like you were in the middle of 40 degrees.
Yeah, true.
And now finally we have Waleed with his presentation for a second before we move on to the question and answers.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Monica. Just like in the beginning, thank each and every one of you for your wonderful presentation. You saved a lot of time trying to say why we need all to work in organic business. So thank you for this. I will be just saying small information about SICAM. SICAM is an initiative initiated by Dr. Ibrahim Abou Aish in 1977. He has his dream about establishing sustainable development agriculture in Egypt, where we can produce natural food, along with giving back to the community some of the interest and the benefit that we having as SICAM members. And through the years, we turned it out from 60-hectare farm in far away from like 6 kilos from Cairo. It was completely desert, and we're now multiplied our size like 10 times, and we now from last year and for establishing new SICAM community in Al-Wahad. It's a huge desert area in Egypt. Some of you will know about it. And we were planning in the next 40 years to establish a whole community for SICAM, which is about 200 hectares of biodynamic agriculture. So this is a small view about who we are and what we're doing. And now I will give a small presentation about what we're doing so far and some of our products. So as I told you, our mission and vision is to be able to produce dynamic food products for local and export market to satisfy our customer needs, and also to maintain a balanced environment, which is one of the huge issues that the world is facing now, and taking the responsibility of being part of the solution, not the problem. You can see one of parts of our main farm in Belbase. And this is actually our biggest companies now, SICAM and Aziz, it's the food companies, while Atos Pharma, we're producing medical products and medicine, and Lotus is a bulk company for herbals. And in NatureTech, we also have a factory for clothes, which was completely made from organic materials. And now to the products that we have. First of all, we have the fresh products, which we produce and sell locally and export to many countries. We also certified not only as organic, but as Demeter organic, which is one of the highest certificates for the organic products worldwide. And also we produce a lot of the edible oils, and we offer them in multiple SKUs, either it's small SKUs or bulk shape, like in barrels. And here is one of our biggest varieties. It's the herbal teas collection, variation of varieties from anise to peppermint, you name it. And also we have a huge supply for date products, raw material, and final products, and some date products like the date buys and date bars. And again, we produce a lot of legumes for B2B and B2C need and demand, mainly in the European market, which has a huge demand for our Demeter products. And the last product that we have is seeds products, which mainly communicating the small housewives and people who would like to grow and share the benefit of the organic food and for their home scale. And also, this is the presentation that I was preparing for you, and I have here some of the actual products that we produce. I want to give you an example and actual view of the package and product itself. So this is it's called stevia. It's a natural replacement for the sugar. It's actually available in many countries now. And this is one of the dates products. It's called date bar. It's a combination between dates, chocolates, and coconuts. And here is also the peanut butter, which we produce and sell for both local and export markets. And I think that's some of the products that we have. And once again, I would like to share. Thank you all for your presence, and I'm glad to be part of this event.
Okay, thank you so much, Waleed, for that. And thank you everyone for presenting your companies and products. And now we'll move on to the question and answers. So it'd be good if all of you can unmute yourselves. Great. So we are going to start with a general intro into the fresh produce market. And I would like to start with David. David, what's your opinion on the global market for the fresh produce sector, and what has been the growth?
Yeah, globally, I think the market's definitely growing. I think that's mainly to do with general consumer buying habits and movement towards healthier lifestyles, being healthier in general, away from fast foods, away from processed products. So in general, globally, yes, it's definitely growing, and it's on the up. And with many of the health concerns people are having nowadays, I think that's actually going to help the fresh produce industry globally.
Right. And Rahul, are you of the same opinion? Anything to add?
I totally agree with David. Yeah, like I said, we've seen a big spike in numbers, like products like turmeric and ginger. People are getting more health conscious.
Right. And how about you, Waleed, since you're from Egypt, rest of us are from the UAE. What's your perspective on this?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with both David and Rahul about this. The demand is increasing highly, and especially the unfortunate circumstances for COVID-19 turned everyone around the organic and the healthy products. Everyone is now speaking the language of the organic and healthy. Each one of our members here can say definitely they have increasing demands, like double, triple the times that you used to have, or even planning to for this year. So yes, definitely it's increasing. Yeah.
Great. And moving over to Omer, what's the market for fresh produce sector looking like in the Middle East? Any specific products such as turmeric, as Rahul mentioned, and yeah.
Yeah, of course, like the rest of the world, Middle East has also been coping with COVID. And we saw an interesting shift in consumption of fresh produce, with people thinking like restaurants and hotels closing down. There may be a lot of wastage, a huge wastage of fresh produce, like we saw in the rest of the world. But in the Middle East, what we actually saw is people getting their produce into their home, and the consumption's actually increasing. So especially focusing towards organic produce, because again, a healthier lifestyle and health consciousness was a key factor for that. But yes, organic produce, locally farmed produce, especially since we had a bit of trouble basically for products coming in from abroad. Sourcing options were limited. So people shifted towards, people who have been growing produce locally, as I'm sure my colleagues who have been farming in the UAE would agree. Tomatoes, cucumbers, these type of products that were generally imported from European countries. Producers were surprisingly overwhelmed by the demand that actually grew.
Okay, nice. And Farah, would you have something to add to that?
Yes, I want to add two important ideas. First of all, we have witnessed a huge demand on the local products, especially. Because nowadays, if we can speak about the mentality of the people, it changed. Before, they didn't have any trust in the local products, any liability in the local farms and farmers. So we had a lot of problems before, but nowadays, and what Rahul is saying that because of the COVID-19, a lot of restaurants and hotels closed. So we see the majority of the people are going and purchasing food, because I think the Arab world, they love food. And this is from a personal experience. All we've bought these 3 or 4 months is food and fruits and vegetables. And the focus nowadays on the local products is getting very high. And this is something really very important to highlight on.
Great. And another question for David and Yazan. What potential do local farms have in the region, which we have covered upon, a big potential, but how does that affect imports as such? So, David?
I think they haven't really affected imports as such. People, I think under the current circumstances, they do perceive local to be fresher, and in generally it is fresher. But there's been a lot of disruptions globally with our global logistics, availability, consistency, and perhaps it's actually given people a chance to try organic and local, because they might not have tried it before. And now, due to other shortages, they can try these products. It is going into summer, so there is limited local production. But yeah, we've seen a big trend towards local, definitely.
And Yazan, what's your opinion on the same?
Yeah, I'll have to agree that imports will have its place based on many of the things I mentioned before. But local in very specific products like cucumber and tomato, and soon enough, green leaves and especially microgreens and those ready-made salad mixes. I think those very high-value crops, there's opportunity there for local producers to supply, and where the high-tech greenhouses would really benefit and come in. When it comes to organic production, unfortunately, the industry has its highs and lows, and we had a lot more suppliers, let's say, but new people are always coming into the market, and they're trying to find a place. And what the government is doing by pushing from the demand side, so asking supermarkets, retailers to have shelf space for organic, for local, so that the demand is there, will improve the price, the pricing as so that it can be sustainable, where these farms can survive and continue.
Great, thank you. And now when we're looking at the current times, what are the 3 key things that have changed due to the current situation? And I also invite our viewers to give their answers on the chat box too. And I'll start with Rahul, since you are actually exporting fruits from India to the UAE. So what are the things that have changed, you feel?
I'll come back to that, but the earlier question you asked, I'm a big supporter of local organic fruits and vegetables. But one good thing about supplying from India is that our transit time is very less. Our produce reaches over here very quickly. Like we supply from Bombay, so in 2.5 hours our stuff is over here. And there is a challenge in the UAE when it comes to weather. You can supply, or like you can have local stuff only, I believe, 6 months in a year. So India, UAE, we share a very, very good relation. And yeah, so I really look forward to doing more organic products. I can't hear myself. And yeah, coming back to your question, one key benefit I would say is like with our farmers, we have given them a projection. Like in April, we have to get about 500, 700 kilos of capsicum. You hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Now you do.
No, we
Yeah,
don't.
we heard you
Okay.
before.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so we've given a farmers a projection like in April we have committed to 500, 700 kilos a week. So which we were not able to export because of the flights not being there. So what we've done is we've started a nice retail chain in Bombay itself. We're supplying to every homes in Bombay. So yeah, so that's one key point that has really helped us, that help AgroVilla in the COVID situation.
Okay, great. And David, what are the key things that have changed due to COVID?
Yeah, I'd say the three main things we've seen are obviously disruptions in availability and consistency globally, mainly via air freight. From a consumer point of view, we've seen consumers being a little bit more price conscious. Perhaps they still have the same buying power that they did. Some of them, unfortunately, not, but there is uncertainty economically. And thirdly, there's actually, from a wholesale perspective, there's a few less players in the market. A few of the smaller players have fallen by the wayside, unfortunately. So yeah, wholesale, there's less players and less availability and purchase power from consumers, I would say.
And also, I would think online as well, right?
Yeah, for us specifically, yeah, we've seen a huge growth in our e-commerce platform. It's been a major challenge, but we seem to have come out the other side since the lockdown has been lifted. And we're in a much better place now, but it's been a very challenging few months, but exciting.
And Omer, what are your thoughts on this?
Yes, I would like to echo everybody else's comments, of course. We've seen some dynamic shifts in the economic for the general public and some companies as well. But I feel that the focus on innovating newer and cheaper and more economic ways from international and local producers has actually helped bringing more options to the people. I mean, historically speaking, organic produce was extremely expensive. There were very few options available, especially to the UAE population. And now we've seen a lot more people coming into the race, bringing in different varieties of product, different qualities of product, which has actually helped grow this part, even though a lot of other economic sectors have actually shrunken during these times. But like we discussed, fresh produce has not really been affected in a negative way, but in a positive way.
Sure. And Waleed, what is the situation the same in Egypt?
Well, yes, because this is it's internationally event, so we all affected one way or another by the same circumstances. So I have to agree with David and Omer on their points, because from our point of view, the three high remarks on the COVID-19 and the effects was first of all the online demand, the insane increasing on the online demand all over the world is is actually incredible. It's forced all of us to invest more and more and to concentrate more on the online service over the conventional way, and also the higher demand what actually means is it's means less on the cost, and it's make us and all the organic producer be able to integrate more with the technology and the solutions that coming up to keep up with the high demand. So yes, it's definitely it's sad to say that, but we actually the food sector and fresh business is benefiting from the situation. So I think we have to take an advantage of this. Yes.
Right. And moving on, I think we've already covered this. Any notable shift in the fresh produce segment, we've seen that there has been a growth. And anyone would like to answer, apart from turmeric, as Rahul mentioned, is there any demand for specific products, or is just generally fresh produce? Would anyone like to answer?
I really like what Walid said, like there is a growth in organic, people are moving towards organic. So that's why we, along with Ripe, what we're trying to do is why we are doing containers is because that gets our freight down a lot. So yeah, then we'll reach to more households. So yeah, that's a new thing that we're doing. And I'll get in touch with Walid as well. We should check what's happening with Egypt also with organic.
Yes.
Sure thing. That's what this forum is for.
Lovely.
And I had on the session of superfoods around a month ago, we were speaking to one of the panelists who said that people were bulk buying like crazy before the lockdown hit. So yeah, what is the effect of the situation on buying behaviors for the fresh produce? Was it the same situation where people bulk buying? Anyone has any opinions on this?
We definitely saw some crazy bulk buying behavior. Literally every announcement, every closure, every new government announcement, we saw an immediate spike. Fresh produce, it's a tricky one because it doesn't have much shelf life. So it was more on our grocery items, but just fresh produce in general went up quite drastically. We actually also saw a bit of a spike in frozen fresh produce as people, I think, had a stocking up kind of mentality, and buying frozen berries and frozen vegetables was one way they also did that. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And Farah, from a supplying perspective, how did that work out for you during the lockdown?
I want to say that COVID-19 and the pandemic that we went, all the world went through, it was an eye-opening for the society members in UAE to understand more the importance of food security and the importance of locally grown products, because it might not be the last pandemic that we will go through. Inshallah, we will not witness any other pandemic, but we never know what can happen in the world. So this pandemic made the people think, first of all, about the prices, because before we used to pay a lot for the vegetables and the fruits. Nowadays, since a lot of people, sadly, they lost their jobs, they are thinking more towards where I can get the cheaper products. And they looked everywhere. And for us, because we get the fresh products from the farms, we don't have a lot of cost.
Right.
So our products are cheaper, and it doesn't go to the suppliers and to the market. It's fresh from the farm to the consumer. And this is where our e-commerce also have had a lot of demand, because people cannot go out, they cannot buy from outside. So I think, yes, the demand on e-commerce nowadays is increased a lot.
Great. Now moving on to Omer. What are the current trends in sourcing fresh produce? What are the challenges? Any shift in country of origin due to logistics? And according to you, the top fresh produce products that are being imported?
Yes, we did see a lot of challenges rising, especially during the lockdowns. There was a huge support, especially from the UAE government during that time. The national carriers stepped up in a huge way, making sure they had the cargo channels as widely available as possible. The that we faced during these times were actually from the foreign market, actually, countries who were actually going into lockdown and not making provisions for the produce to be sent. But during that time, there were partners, especially suppliers from Europe, suppliers from India, and suppliers from the Americas that stepped up and made sure that the products were coming in, especially to Dubai. And again, local producers also made sure that their production capacities were increased, maximized as much as possible in a very quick turnaround. I mean, they made sure timing was crucial for that. So that was the shift in terms of sourcing. If anything, I think sourcing from international sources may have decreased a bit, but not in a way that really impacts the overall industry. It's just that the focus has shifted towards produce in the cheapest and the most affordable kind of way. Because of that, we are seeing international suppliers also coming up with ideas and ways to bring down their prices, their average prices for the produce. In terms of the products that we do see a lot of imports for, I'd say fresh salads and internationally sourced fresh salads, mixed lettuces, herbs, greens. These are all products that have seen a distinct growth as compared to others. Vegetables have definitely outdone fruits during these times. I guess that's because of the consumptions. People do take their fruits, but vegetables are more in the local communities. So that's what I feel about this.
And David, any additional thoughts? You're on mute, David.
My bad. Yeah, from sourcing perspective, it's forced us to think outside the box a bit. It's not a normal season we've had to face, and we had to look at alternative products from alternative sources. It's also, I guess, the strength of our relationships has really mattered in these tough times. Like I said earlier, we have 40 years of experience in the market, and we've built relationships over the last 40 years with our suppliers. Yeah, and it's under these tough times that you really benefit from those strengths in sourcing. Yeah.
And Yazin, your views on the same?
You're
on.
good. Yes.
All right, see, yeah. There's not much I can add to what my colleagues said, and they are more in the industry of sourcing and importing. So yeah.
Cool. I mean, you had your chart as well, products that are imported more. So cucumbers and tomatoes are locally sourced, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And what would be the top in imports?
Fruits, I believe. So there are many products that aren't produced locally. Obviously, avocados. Then you have the fruits, the oranges, the apples. A lot of these products, when we talk about fresh fruits and vegetables, those are imported. You have the blueberries, the strawberries. There are small, very like strawberry farms, but it's negligible. In dates, the UAE has 20% of the world's date palms. So I mean, outside of just that is a great example about price and selection and all these things. If we really wanted to, we can just have our own dates in the UAE, but it's about providing a wider variety. It's about different price points, different origins. So regardless if you can produce it locally, will the market buy it? That is always a question. That's very important. Yeah. But I mean, those are the main imports that we see. When it comes to vegetables, you saw the onions and garlic are the kings. We have a huge South Asian community and Arab community, and onion and garlic goes in everything. And it's huge quantities that comes in. And garlic is not grown locally. So, yeah.
Okay, interesting, because even the Indian expat population is a lot in the UAE, and onion and garlic are consumed every day as well here. So,
Yes.
yeah, I can see why it would be one of the main imports.
Mazen buys a lot of our garlic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, Waleed, when it comes to Egypt and exporting, what have you seen are the popular exports to the rest of the Middle East region?
Well, if we're talking the same as Zia's highly informative presentation of the main and high demand on the products in the Middle East, citrus, onions, potatoes, and garlic are the most highly demand products from Egypt, and I think from the other regions also. So, as you may know, Egypt is #1 citrus producer in the whole Africa, and we're ranked, I think, 3rd or 4th country all over the world. So, I think in citrus, yes, definitely we have a very huge part in the market of the UAE market. Also, the onions and potatoes is increasing demand, very big. But otherwise, I think overall the whole products, especially when come to product related to some way or another by the boosting the immunity or increasing the health of the people, increasing demand was the main topic in the last 2-3 months. So this is the current situation that we have now.
Okay, great. Now rounding up, let's talk about the future of fresh produce, and we'll start with Farah. Farah, what's your prediction for 2021 in terms of the demand for organic and natural products, fresh produce?
We have spoke before about the huge support. I think Yasin spoke about the support that the UAE government and the food security minister is doing for the fresh produce and the local farms. So I think we are going in the right way, because now the trust that they have in us, and plus the strategies that Gracia Group is following to educate, because what we miss in the agricultural sector is the education. First of all, is the education and studying the market. So they were saying about, and they were talking about the products that they are highly demand. This is what we want to reach. We want to study the market. We want to educate our farmers, and the support that the government is doing for the local farmers is huge and is amazing. And opening every supermarket for the local products and the hotels and the restaurant and encourage them to try our local produce. This is what we want. So I think the local and fresh produce will highly increase in 2021.
Great. And Yasin? Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yasin, your opinions, please.
Yes, if you can repeat the question just so that I'm on page.
What's your prediction for 2021 in terms of the demand for organic and natural products?
I think, the demand is going to increase, especially if we moved away from HoReCa more to retail. There's a premier, you can call it a premiumization of a lot of products where retailers can display local produced, let's say tomatoes, but in a beautiful package, highlighting the benefits and all these things versus the traditional method of just bulk dumping. And I think online retailers can really benefit from having that space where they can put the text, explain the benefits, explain the carbon footprint, and all these things that would help push the local food, as well as working with all the online retailers like Kipson's and others, where it can guarantee freshness to the consumer, as it's basically on demand. When someone places an order, Kipson's gets supplied and supplies it. So this way, it's not just sitting on a shelf for a longer time. So that reduces waste, improves the business model for local farmers as they supply. So people like Kipson's are playing a very important role in supporting the local farmers, and I see that trend continuing, especially with the positive government support and in many other aspects as well. We are just lacking the other industries. So as farmers, as Gracia mentioned, the tech from Spain or whatever, we build greenhouses and we supply tech. All the tech is always coming from other countries, and we don't have the support industries. So when Spain has waste, they have ketchup factories, they have tomato paste, they have tomato sauce, they have byproducts, where the UAE doesn't have that mature agriculture industry that I was mentioning before, with the canning and the pickles and the jams and dehydration and all these things. I visited Seacom. I visited where Mr. Walid, the company he represents, 2 years ago, and it's absolutely incredible. They did organic in the desert 40 years ago in Egypt before anyone was talking about it, and they are leaders in the region. They actually have a university. And they have a full supply chain where they supply Europe and all over the world, even to the US, with organic cotton, clothing, herbs and spices. But that is a fully integrated model where they're not just producing. There's the producers, and then they can make the clothing and they can make the dehydration, all these things. So we're lacking that in the UAE. Hopefully, other entrepreneurs, we are doing our best. We have a restaurant, we have all these things, but we can't grow, supply, produce, deliver, and make finished products as well. It's very difficult. So hopefully the startup scene will support in all these aspects that we need.
Great. And I'll just have the closing remark by David, because we have quite a few audience questions. So David, your prediction for 2021?
Yeah, we definitely think the organic market is going to grow. Ultimately, everybody wants to eat organic food. Let's be realistic. I think as long as it's consistently available, as long as it's relatively affordable, and I think as long as it's well branded and trusted brands are developed in the industry, brands that can become household names. For example, EBF has become a household name. I think as long as it's trusted, it's consistent, and it's relatively affordable, it will continue to grow. There's no doubt.
Great. So we have audience questions from viewers from across the world. This one is specifically for Rahul. So Rahul, organic is expensive. How do you plan to make it accessible to more people?
Like I said, we're working along with Ripe. We're going to start doing containers now. So that will cut our costs like a good 3-4 dirhams a kg for even basic products. So yeah, we're working on that. So that's my vision for 2021. We are looking at this, like organic should not only be for the niche. Like people who, when you think of organic, they only think of expensive products. So our organic, hopefully next year, is going to be a household thing.
Okay. Anyone else would like to take that? Any inputs?
I think Rahul covered it pretty nicely.
Sorry? Okay.
Thank you, Omer.
Great. Thank you, Rahul. This is a question for Yazin. I know that you have your channels to make your products reach the consumer hands. Do you have a similar sort of channel dedicated to product sellers?
You're mute, Mazen.
Yes. So just to understand the question, we have distribution channels for our products. Do we have for other fresh products? Is that?
Yeah.
Locally, we don't buy from other farms currently. We supply only our product. When it comes to imports, we have imports to supplement our offering. And then we have a lot of retail products. I have some products from Seacom as well, and a lot of dried products and things. But those are just to supplement. We have a retail shop, we have a restaurant. So we want to use the quinoa, and we want to use the oils, and we want to use all these products on the farm itself. But our main business remains, we are producers, and that is where our main business, producers and wholesalers, is our main focus and our main business. Online is something that we offer our customers, but it was more survival as we had a restaurant and visitors and all of that was shut down. So online, replaced some of that, which was great. But our target is always for visitors to come to the farm, and that is our main business when it comes to going direct to consumer, and then wholesale when it comes to the market with our partners that we work with on a large scale.
Great. Another question from the viewer for anyone. Do you think there would be a trend in the consumer behavior and preferences post-COVID-19 to go for fresh produce compared to frozen or packaged food?
I'd answer that. I was talking to my sister the other day. She's in the US. She said a very interesting thing. Like, you go to a pharmacy and you only see medicines. You don't see fruits and vegetables, which are natural ingredients and natural healers. You don't see turmeric, you don't see gingers. So yeah, after the COVID-19, I think people will, sorry. Yeah. I think people will realize the value of food more. Let it be conventional, organic even more.
True.
Yes, definitely. I have to say that definitely this is going to happen. I think all of our partners here, they already witnessed this one way or another. Either it was online or was direct questions and direct demand from our retail shops or whatever the channels that we have. I believe so. The demand for locally for the fresh and organic products is going to be increased. And I think this is a very good opportunity for all the organic producers, not only us, to work better to achieve the formulas that was David talking about, that if we can secure supply demand with affordable prices, this is actually the formula that we are trying to reach and to success in it. Yeah.
Great. And last question for everyone, it's open. After the whole COVID-19 crisis has passed, do you think that consumers would go back to organic, or would they go back to their old habits? They continue with the organic trend? Yeah, David?
I'll jump in there. I think generally this crisis is not going to be forgotten anytime soon. And people are going to be a lot more aware of their physical health, aware of their immune systems, aware of things like obesity. So yes, I think this is a trend, and it's going to continue upwards more than ever.
Especially we're seeing people starting to grow fruits and vegetables in their backyards. Even if they have a small window, they're just putting a pot over there, growing basils and fresh herbs. So we see people, enjoying this and joining into this movement more and more. And I think it's going to continue to grow instead of dying down anytime soon.
Yeah, I have to agree also.
Sorry, go ahead first, sorry.
Okay, I have to agree also with Umair, because as I said before, we customize and we construct mini greenhouses for homes, and the demand that we had these 2 months were huge. If we sold, for example, the last year, this number of greenhouses, in these 2 months we did the same. People are now more aware about the importance about what we consume in order to get sick or not, because COVID-19 also played a big role and attacked the people that have very low immunity. And we know, and Rahul said something about his sister in USA that was totally right, that consuming the right food plays a big role in our immunity. And this is what the people discovered after this pandemic.
Yeah, and I would lastly like to say, just to add on to Farah, is that you cannot predict your future. You can protect it. So have organic. You know, there are a lot of chemical and conventional. I don't want to put it down, but organic is the way moving ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We have some questions for me. Where can I exhibit? And how can I be part of the Digital Trade Week? So to participate in the Organic and Natural Products Expo 2020, you can either log into our website at organicandnatural.com, or you can drop an email to our sales team at abhishek@organicandnatural.com or sarah@organicandnatural.com. And presenting at the Digital Trade Week is a part of the package of exhibiting. And if you're a buyer or a distributor and you would like to educate our audience about the market, please do reach out to me at menaka@organicandnatural.com. The full schedule is at organicandnatural.com/digital. And one more thing, I have a question on Arabian Organics, our Arabian Organics portal. What are the import regulations and how can Arabian Organics help? So Arabian Organics has various packages available that will take care of your products being imported to the market, from clearing customs to storing to delivery. Everything can be taken care of by Arabian Organics. To know more, make sure you go to our website, arabianorganics.com, and you can also click on the button below the chat box, which you're seeing, which says Get Involved. So yeah, I mean, we are actually getting more questions in, but we're sadly we have to wrap up now. So we are at the end of the live session. But thank you, all of our viewers, and don't forget to tune in again 2 weeks later. We are going to have another session on alternate health with suppliers and buyers in the region. So that will be a really, really interesting session, especially considering everything that's happening during these times. And attendees, more than 4,000 attendees have attended this live session from all over the globe, right from Japan to Morocco. Thank you, panelists. Thank you for all of your insights and information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Thank you for having Agrovilla. You were lovely.
Oh, thank you so much, Rahul.
Thank you. Thank you.
And yes, we'll see you on 30th June now for our next live webinar session. And yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.